Hello, Powerhouse Smart friends and colleagues. We're here again for another fabulous episode of the Powerhouse Cool Collabs podcast. We put this podcast together because I am so grateful that I have these amazing relationships in my world, in my network, and many of them, like our beloved guest today, Ken Crawford, fall within this realm of living with an attitude of gratitude, giving back to help humanity. But first and foremost, they are the coolest leaders in design, build, and real estate. So we're tying a beautiful bow around everything that's in our world. So it's a 20-minute podcast because we want to make sure all of our leaders get this in as they're commuting from one project to another. So without further ado, I always love Ken. Ken, welcome to my home. I love when our guests get to take the microphone and share with us their stories so we can kick it off. And then I have lots of questions for you, Ken. So Ken,
Okay,
take it away.
take it away. Wendy, first of all, I got to say thank you so much for what you do. It's like you're an incredible person and
Thank
somebody I look up to highly because you are just phenomenal and how you put people together. And it's like, it's unbelievable. So keep doing what you're doing, girl, because you're doing awesome at it.
thank you.
I'm Ken Crawford. I am the current president of ASID Florida South Chapter. If you don't know our boundaries, we go from Vero Beach to Key West. We cross over to Naples and go up to Fort Myers, and we include Puerto Rico. So it's a huge chapter. It's a lot of work. Um, so just let me give a background on me. I had been practicing interior design for 38 years, which is a long time. And but I am very passionate at what I do. I love my job. I don't even consider it a job because I love what I do. I get to meet people like you, Wendy, and other people with these networking groups and through ASID. And it's so wonderful when you get together with all these people and they appreciate what you're doing for them and you try to help them with, resolutions of things. And it's just an incredible place to be is to be the president of an organization like this
Mm.
because you form alliances and friendships and you try to do so much for all these members that you have under your belt. One thing that I really sort of focused on this year is that we give back, which in the past the chapter really hasn't done that much on. So I started implementing a fabric organization where I would go to, and designers would go to showrooms. They would give us fabric that the showrooms would just either throw into the landfill, and we would take that and we would take it to local schools, art programs, community centers, adult living facilities, that anybody that would love to have this fabric to repurpose them for pillows or for like, theater class or anything like that, instead of having it up in the landfill. And that's been such a huge success. I mean, and the amazing thing is with Instagram, people see that and they're like, Ken, we have stuff we have to give you. So it starts rolling and rolling and rolling.
Wow.
And, as everybody probably knows in Florida, we get hit by hurricanes all the time. So I just basically told our membership we have to get involved with helping others that are who have been hurt. So last year when the hurricanes hit northern Florida, we met a group down in Miami and we put together all these kits. We had a slotted period of time. We had about 15 members, and we put like these slots together for hygiene and food. We shipped them out. And then the following weekend, I was down in Marco Island with 400 people putting together food packets and everything together for the people for the hurricane and less fortunate than we are. And we put like 200,000 boxes together. And it's something that really hits home because it's like we really need to start giving back. Florida, and I don't know if you knew this, Florida is like the worst state for volunteering.
Ah,
And that's where I was like, okay, we have to make a difference. And this is what we have to do. And even though the people who don't sort of participate, I get emails saying, God, Ken, you're amazing. I can't believe you did this. So kudos to you that you're doing this volunteer work.
okay, so you packed so much in there, Ken. I love it. And of course, we've known each other for about a year and a half now. And it was so obvious to me from the very first time I met you that talk about giving back and helping others, like that is like forefront of who you are. When you walk in a room and it's like you're magical, you want to meet everyone. It's like my whole purpose is this relationship, and you pay attention, and you're doing so many amazing things. But what I want to start with first is, how did you get into interior design, and how are you doing that while still being president?
It's called long hours, weekends, and no social life.
It is your social life. That's right.
Yeah, this is my social life, really. I gotta tell you, Wendy, when I was a little kid,
Mhm.
um, and I tell the story all the time. When I had a sandbox, I used to make little subdivisions in the sandbox, and then I
Oh,
moved, to Legos, Lincoln Logs, if people happen to know what that is.
yes, yes.
Um, and then I used to take my sister's doll houses and take all the furniture out and redo them. And then my sisters would just throw the dollhouse at me because, like, why are you touching our stuff? And then I just it started evolving that way. And when I was in high school, developers used to have these things called showcase homes. And I
Mhm.
would go through the homes and see what they're doing. And that's how I started really realizing this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I've been doing it for 38 years.
So is it in the same territory that the ASID Florida South is in, or is it, are you, worldly? Tell me, where are your projects, and fill us in a little bit about the interior designer side, and then we'll get into this
Okay.
whole new world that you have exploded into.
Well, the funny thing is, when I graduated from college in University of Louisville in Kentucky, my first job, and don't laugh, my first job was designing McDonald's restaurants. And
Great, I love that.
and each restaurant, they wanted a unique look. And I'm like, okay, so I got hired to do that. And then their competitor down in Atlanta saw what I was doing. They called me up and said, hey, we'll give you this much more money if you come work for us.
Whoa.
So I went down to Atlanta, and then I got a job opportunity in Florida, and I moved down here, and I've been here ever since.
So where are you currently in Florida?
I'm in Hollywood, Florida. It's located between, we're the original Hollywood, by the way. We're between Fort Lauderdale and Miami. And I've had the pleasure of having really great projects from down in the Keys to Fisher Island, and all the major cities, especially in South Florida. And then when you have certain clientele, they have homes in other areas. So then they ask you to go there too. I just did a beautiful project up in Gramercy Park in New York City, and it turned out phenomenal. And
Wow.
yeah, so and I tell students all the time, this is such a fabulous career. You never know what's going to happen. And when I used to work for the firm here, when I first moved here, I got to go to England to meet a client for a 20-minute meeting. And they were actually part of the royal family of Kuwait. And so when I told him, I said, oh, I've never been to London. He's like, oh, just stay for like 4 days. I'll pay for everything and you can see London, which was fantastic. So it's a great opportunity, this career. You never know what's going to happen. So when the door opens, I always take it.
You're so much more than just an interior designer. You are this incredible soul that just, as people meet you, and obviously this is why this happens. You meet a client, and then they absolutely want to show you, open the world to you, at least their world, and then sharing with students and whatnot. So I just wonder, when as you're building your interior design firm, and you're still doing that, are you still taking on projects, or are you giving them to other people and focusing on being the president? And I know that has a term as well. Tell me, how have you been balancing the two?
Well, the funny thing is, I'm sort of, and I hate to use this term, but I'm sort of a workaholic. And I shouldn't say workaholic because I love what I do. Maybe it's loveaholic, but I do have clients. And when I was being put into this position, I actually met with each of my clients and said, look, I'm working on your projects, but I have this as well. And they were actually so excited for me. They were like, wow, this is impressive. They're like, no, 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 we'll work with you. And they have been so wonderful to work with me, and, I'll do this ASID stuff during the day, and nighttime I do all this stuff at night. And then I meet my clients first and deal with ASID stuff later. So it's how you maneuver everything.
Yeah.
And as long as you're very transparent with people, especially your clients, they fully understand what you're doing.
Yeah.
And on top of this, and I don't know if you know this, Wendy, is I was on the planning board for the city of Hollywood as well. And then I'm also the president of my neighborhood association as well. So I have a lot on my plate.
Well, that's it. Give someone like you a lot of different things to do, and what you do is you weave all the collaborations you can pull together with all of that, and you turn it into something like an orchestra. And so,
Exactly.
so I see you as this president, and just so everyone should know, I actually my first time we met face to face was at the Naples Inaugural Luxury Conference in Naples, Florida, just recently last February. And Ken walked in, and I would say there's 150 luxury industry professionals. And by the end of the full day, every single one of those people got the opportunity to talk with you. And to me, that was so important because bringing ASID Florida in as a collaborator just proves that we come together to grow together. And you were like living the dream and doing that. So my question to you is, being the president of ASID, what have you seen that has been the result of pulling all these collaborations together? Give me some of the things that you're just like, aha, that happened.
Well, the funny thing is, and I'm a huge social media fan.
Mhm,
That's where everything's going.
mhm.
Not necessarily your website, but it's all social media. And Wendy, when I started posting the event that we met and what incredible work you did, and I would talk a little bit about it and everything, it sort of like opened the floodgates, and more people were interested. Like, tell us more about this network that you're part of, a powerhouse. And I think I sent some people your way as well. But it's interesting when people see something and then they gravitate toward it,
Right.
and then they're like, I want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And because we see what you're doing and you're putting everything together, and with ASID, like I meet one trade and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I know this designer who's looking for somebody, what you're doing. Hey, so yeah, and that's what it's all about. And when I do post on Instagram, I want to make sure that they see the company name. And I have people call me all the time, Ken, that post that you did, I got 3 designers walked in because of that post. And that's how it should be. We all, we're all in this together. We should be helping each other out.
Yeah.
So, and Wendy, me, I don't have an ego. I don't have like, oh, I'm greater than now, which unfortunately some designers do. It's like there's enough design work for everybody, and we all just need to respect each other, have fun with each other, and just like, live the possible way in a positive manner.
Absolutely, absolutely. So one of the pillars under the Powerhouse Cool Collabs is living with an attitude of gratitude. And when you talk about this, you just see the gratitude and the hearts kind of flooding, like social media, right? Like the hearts come down and the balloons go up when you talk about the students. So tell me some of the things that you've incorporated in ASID Florida South with students and ushering them in as our next gen.
Well, we're actually mandated with ASID to have one student career day. Of course, me being the overachiever, I
Of
I
course.
had I had 2 student career days. I had there's an Italian school down in Miami Design District. There's one in Palm Beach, and and then I sort of got the board together to support another school with their fundraising during the holidays. And then I started to find out what they're doing, and then I just show up at what they're doing just to help the students. And the funny thing is the school in Palm Beach, after we did our student career day, excuse me, one of the design students came up and she's like, I am so touched with what you do and how you talk, and how I could see how much you love what you do. And she goes, I'm going to form a student chapter in this school. I mean, that was like the biggest thing for me, the fact that you had a student who's going to, and they're in the process now of getting a student members, or a student, what's that called, a student chapter.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God, this is fantastic. So
Wow.
yeah, and then the university I graduated from, every time I go home, I always send the person in charge an email like, come talk to them. They love when you come up and you talk about what you're doing. So, and I just wish more designers would do that, because, and not necessarily maybe through ASID, but, you know, take a student under your arm,
Yeah.
teach them what's going on, because schools teach the foundation. It's like when you get out in the real world, like, that's when you learn everything. Sometimes you fall on your face, but you pick yourself up, you shake your shirt off, and you just keep going.
Yep.
So,
Mentorship is so critical, and it's so beautiful that you're tying that in. So I know you brought to us your predecessor, the next because your term is going to be up, but she said in front of everyone at the last event we were at that she's not letting you go anywhere. So what I want to know is what do you have in your mind for the plans for, post president, but emeritus always for the next year? What, now that you'll have a little more time to really focus on the things that you are most passionate about with your leadership.
well, the good thing is I am still to this day getting companies reaching out saying we want to do events with you. And even though my term is October 1st, we're already planning events in October, November. And it's all because of the groundwork that I laid. And Tracy, who's coming in, she's like, you just can't go anywhere. And I go, I'm not going to go anywhere. I will always be there to support the chapter, and I will always be there to support you and support the people who I helped come on to the chapter. And she was so happy about that, because sometimes in organizations like this, the president's like, oh, they just sort of disappear. They don't really participate anymore, which I think is so wrong in doing. Because if you're going to spend the time and energy to create something, why would you just walk away from it? You should help out the next person who's coming on to continue what you started, and then let her take it to the next level. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm planning to do.
So yeah, that's perfect because really planning the events is really kind of like the strategy of where do we want to go, what are our goals, and now you can have some support doing some of the things that you had to do as the president. And Tracy's going to be perfect to have that team help her, and then you can take it to the next level. And I see that even it's a huge geographic area
It
that your
is
chapter has. I think you said third largest in the
our
country.
largest chapter, yeah. And
Wow,
it's
wow.
and it's funny because every time I show up for an event, they're like, "Oh my God, you're here too?" Because it's like, and I was telling somebody, I think it was your event yeah, it was your event. I had to go up to Palm Beach for an event that we had, and then I drove from Palm Beach down to Naples to be at your event.
Yeah.
And they're like, "What are you doing?" I said, "This is what a president does." Because if you're a president of any kind of organization, you need to show up and you need to say, "Hey, I'm here for you. I'm here to support you. I'm here to do whatever I can to get you to where you need to be as well." And people respect that. People really do. When you're a no show kind of person, you lose credibility, and people don't want to be interested in doing anything with you.
Right. No, it's brilliant. And the fact that you're doing that, you're leading by example. And so I'm so in awe of what you're contributing. And I know you're not going anywhere soon. And actually you've now agreed to be on the advisory board for Powerhouse Smart. And we want to grow beyond Naples and Southwest Florida. And I know we'll do that while helping ASID and any other organization, be it the Builders Association or, there's lots of other great, trade associations that we love. So that'll be fantastic. I always like to end our podcast, Ken, because of, to gain some wisdom from you. You're such a beautiful soul. Well, how would you define a well-lived life, Ken? What would be your definition?
I think a well-lived life is where you enjoy what you do, you appreciate what has been given to you, and you sort of grow from that. And all my friends say, "God, can you work too much? It's like you work too hard. You do so much and you don't enjoy life." I go, actually, I am enjoying life, because I it's I don't find this a hardship. I love what I do. I love being the president, and helping students and just helping out overall. I mean, I wouldn't do it if I didn't want to do it. So
Yeah.
just because you're not sitting on the beach and drinking a margarita, whatever, doesn't mean you're not having a good life. It's all what you want to do with your life is how you love your life, and
That's
that's what
right.
I want to do. And
Yeah.
I will never ever retire from what I'm doing. I love doing what I do too much. I will probably always be part of ASID. And it's just something that I'm very passionate about.
Yeah, no, that's a beautiful definition, and really for all of our, industry professionals and even our students who are watching this today, it's so important that, you're living every single day, like you said, and having, a true affection and gratitude for what you do. And then, like you said, it doesn't feel like work. It is your.
No, it doesn't.
And what happens is what's happening with you, Ken, is the love just comes back to you. And you are so cherished and appreciated. And I'm sure it must just overwhelm you, almost tears to your eyes when people compliment you, but it's so from the heart. What you're doing is so important and valuable because, after all, we're souls having a human experience, right?
Yep. You're absolutely right on that.
Yes. So my blessings to you for sharing your wisdom
Oh,
here
thank
today.
you.
Below is going to be just a description of our chat here. And of course, all the places to reach Ken Crawford. Number one, you can reach him to be your interior designer if you have a project you want to collaborate.
I'm looking for new clients. So
Okay, good. That's awesome. Commercial and residential?
yep, both.
Okay, excellent. And then also, of course, to be connected to ASID Florida South, to just learn how he has built this amazing network that he has in all of Florida, and it sounds like even beyond Florida, even Atlanta, and to see all the newest and greatest things he's doing philanthropically, helping whenever there's a life crisis in Florida, helping mentor students. I mean, I could go on and on. So all the links and all the connections to Ken are below. Please reach out to Ken. Ken, I love you. I can't wait to see you at the next event. And of course, we will stay in contact as we do through social media and all of our daily living as well. So blessings.
Absolutely. No,
Yes.
thank you, Wendy, for everything. I appreciate you, and I absolutely appreciate everything that you do. You're amazing.
No, it takes all of us to come together to grow together. So my blessings, namaste again.